What is up, guys, and welcome back to another Virginian vlog. So, in this entry, I want to talk about something that is an extension or related to the main idea that I presented in last week's entry. So, in last week's entry, I talked about balance and how when you go through life and you go through the journey that we're all on, like the journey of internal exploration, I suppose, learning what we are, like our feelings, what they mean, all of this internal questing that we do. You eventually get to a point where you realize that, like, all of the perspectives that you have gained, they kind of like eventually kind of converge, so that you have like a big picture kind of view of life, where you recognize what's truly important to you. Eventually, once you've been through enough of those dark nights of the soul, like, you realize what's truly important to you, like what you truly love and resonate with. And like also like it kind of connects you with the challenge of life. Once you realize that these things are truly important to you, like they're your home, right? They're your home, and that kind of enables you to then tackle the challenges that you've always kind of been a bit afraid of, right? And ultimately, like, it opens you up to, like, finally experience life. Whereas at one point, like myself, like, I was very closed. I didn't really have much care for, like, many things in life, but like, and I always felt I was like a failure as a human being because of that, But so that was the entry. Like, if you haven't watched it, I urge you to go back and watch it if you're interested. In maybe like the idea of like how you can, particularly if you're on a spiritual path, like, how you can then kind of bring this into the next level, which for us spiritual people is predominantly based on like bringing our spiritual kind of gifts into the physical world, and like kind of like using that to not only facilitate positive change in the world, but also to improve our own lives, So anyway, in this entry, I wanted to talk about love and war. All there is love in love and war, right? There's a famous saying, Another one of those trite sayings that is incredibly deep, the more that you live life, But like, I wanted to talk about this because people, like, this is kind of like a general broad split that happens amongst people, right? So like in previous entries, I've talked about like aggressive versus passive people, and this is somewhat related to this, because there are, we can generally classify people into like two broad categories, and obviously, like, there are many ways of categorizing ourselves, But like, the one I want to talk about in this entry is essentially, like, aggressive versus passive people, but more in terms of the light worker, the spiritual person, or like the more artistic, sensitive person, and also the realistic gangster, hustler. That's the kind of label, I guess, this is going to be on this entry. It's like gangsters versus like sensitives, or like gangsters versus like light workers, or like whatever the title is going to be. But like, so I am a sensitive person, I am a spiritual person. I've always been sensitive. Like, I've always been into like very soft and healing things and experiences, like I grew up like, and I fell in love with like animation, cartoons. I fell in love with gaming, like one of my favorite franchises of all time was like Final Fantasy, and yeah, like, and I grew up like, like I mentioned in my, I think, like the healer type, I forgot what the title was, but like I made an entry about healers and how I discovered like that's kind of my primary like archetype, my primary role is a healer. But like, that's like when I was a teenager, that's when I fully discovered that like I love stuff that is like full of feeling and is emotional and sentimental and sensual, and I really love things that really move you and heal you and are like positive and uplifting and inspirational. Raise your hand if you live for inspiration, if you're a spiritual person, if you're like a light worker, right? You know, we're all in it for inspiration. Like that's what we want to bring into the world. That's what we want to feel for ourselves, is that wonderful feeling of inspiration and love and light, you know. That's why we're here. But we live in the real world, right? And the real world, to put it lightly, I suppose, doesn't always care about love and inspiration. If anything, sometimes it kind of spits in the face of that stuff, you know. And you know, I feel like I don't really have to tell you this, you know. I'm just trying to make it humorous, I suppose. But like, you know, yeah, it's like the world is very noisy and calamitous and, you know, messy, you know, and like painful and like just, yeah, like just painful and chaotic, you know. And in this world there exist people who don't know any better, I suppose, you know, like not necessarily people, but like just things happen, and like mostly it's people behind them, you know. It's like people who kind of perpetuate, like, you know, patterns that are destructive, and, you know, and yeah, and just not, just very, yeah, very destructive, really. And like, it's like, as a light worker, when you kind of bear witness to this, it's just like, it can be very devastating, you know. It can be very, very upsetting, and like you wish with all your hearts that the world could, you know, could be a better place. And so like you kind of take your heart and you make preparations, and you say to yourself, I'm going to bring light into the world. I'm going to bring to this world that is so starved of love, and I'm going to give it to it, because that's my gift, and I want the world to love. I don't want to see so much pain and segregation and violence, you know. I want to bring my gift into the world, and I want to heal it, you know. And that's what you feel as a light worker. But like you go through life as a light worker, and it's just like, sometimes it's okay, sometimes you feel pretty good about yourself, you know, and sometimes you're just like, I have so much to say, I have so much I want to do that's in line with like love and inspiration, you know. I want to create art, I want to write words, poems, stories that will hopefully inspire people and show them what I know is beautiful, you know. And it's not a selfish thing. It's just like, I just want to share love. I feel love, you know, when I connect with the things that I love, you know, whether it be art, games, anime, you know, like whether it be like, yeah, like dance, whether it be, you know, even like a community, you know, what I feel from those things, I want to share with the world, you know. I just want to share it so that other people can feel the same way. And that's how you feel as a light worker. But it's like, but then sometimes you're just like, you know, people like cut you off in traffic, you know, like, and people like say things to you and like, you know that they don't really mean them, and like, but you just can't help but feel like I'm triggered, like, and I don't want to be so sensitive, but like I'm triggered, and like, you know, and like I want to help this person, but like at the same time, like I'm, you know, I don't want, like, I hate the fact that like I can't financially support myself, and you know, and it's just like, oh man, but like I don't want to be an asshole. The last thing I want to be is an asshole, right? So like I'm gonna try my best and be positive and be supportive and keep doing my art, but like, you know, but yeah, but, and it's like, you know, and it's like, but then like you go along and you're like, and like people take advantage of you. People don't understand you. You might say something and make something, and you feel it's like a crystallization of your love and your vision and your inspiration, but other people like, okay, and they just shrug it off, you know, and you make a YouTube channel and you've got like 150 plus videos on there, and like you have like a couple subscribers, you know, and like you're grateful for those subscribers, but it's like, you know, like you look at some other channel and they have like 1 million subscribers, and like they make videos about like fucking like you know, like kissing girls in the street, and like you know, like fucking like pieing someone in the face, and like fucking like, you know, like people like shooting each other, like in like, and like those like, this might be a bit disrespectful, but like, I don't mean it, but like just like an example, like those Allahu Akbar videos. I know it's fucking fucked up, you know, they're just terrorists, right? You know, again, like they're just terrorists, but they're people, you know, and it's like, but they do this thing, and like these videos get like views, and you're just like like, okay, it's okay, like I just need to keep going, right? But the thing is that like at some point you will lose it. If you have lived long enough as a light worker, or anyone, and I mean this is relative, obviously. Like I view I'm more or less a light worker, but I have my dark side, you know, and like I think everyone has that, you know, like everyone has the capacity for that, and it's like you live long enough, and that side with you will come out. You know, and it's like you will get pissed off, you know, like, and you will just be like, ugh, like, and people deal with it in different ways, you know, like in the past, I did a lot of self-loathing, but like some people take it even further, you know, some people self-harm, some people like, you know, let it out in other like really self-destructive ways, and it's like, maybe they do drugs. Some people even attempt suicide, and it's like, and it's just because the world is, it's just like sometimes the world just pushes you too far, and it's just like you're just like, I don't know what to do. It's so painful, and like, yeah. And as a light worker, this is what you deal with, and you know, eventually like that dark side comes out, and it's like, and the thing that you probably, as a light worker, because this is more or less the case for me, or has traditionally been the case for me, is like, you will, like, you dislike power. You don't like what that is, what the word, like the word itself, you don't like it. Because what does power equate to you in your mind? Not because you want to, but because you just witness it in the world. It's like, you know, like domination, oppression over people, you know, like narcissism, psychopathy, you know, a lot of time, you know, it's just like violence towards other people, you know, disrespect of other people, you know, you know, just like very destructive and like confrontational and aggressive and just, you know, just barbaric, really. You know, and you just look at that and you're like, I want nothing to do with this. I want nothing to do with this. You know, because like power corrupts, it destroys, you know, it causes separation, disconnection, you know, and what would I even do with it? You know, like, I don't want to compete with other people for like, just for egoic gain. I don't want to do that. I just want to share my inspiration, you know, and like power just gets, like power struggle. I'm not good at that. It just really, I just can't do it as a sensitive person. Like I just can't do it because competition, like I can't do it. Even if I tried, I can't do it. It's just like, I just freeze. Because it's like, I have to like, go up against someone and the one person wins and loses, or like one person has to dominate the other. It's like, I can't do it. As a sensitive person. So yeah, for light workers, it is this thing of power, you know, and like many of us, like for many of us, it's like the worst thing. It's like the thing that we just don't know what to do. Like we feel so powerless against. Right? And that's what we have to deal with as light workers, right? We're so full of love and inspiration, but like we can't, like, but it's like we feel powerless to kind of show that into the world because we try, we're like, I just want to make stuff. But it's like, you go out into the world and people like don't care. People like do shitty things to you and other people, and it's like, you're just like, and people struggle for power, and like, and it's like, you just look at everyone like people don't care, and you're just like, you know, what can you do? And you just like, you fall into depression, you know. So, powerlessness, right? That's the bane of our existence. You know, that's just something that it's our kind of mortal wound, if you will, in this life as light workers. But there is another type of personality, you know, and this type of personality is preoccupied with strength, with power, the very thing that light workers abhor and just cannot find like a sense of resonance with. This other type of personality is like, this is the thing for me. I want to become strong, and strength is the only thing I care about, right? And these people strive to dominate. You know, they strive to become. They work towards power. They work towards financial success. They work towards dominance in a particular area, you know, or discipline, right? They want everything about them to represent power and infallibility, you know, from the way that they talk, the way that they behave, the way that they engage. They love competition. They love power struggle, because to them it's like, I want to become strong, and that is my motivation in life. I want to be sick. I don't want to be no pussy, right? Like I am going to be sick and badass, untouchable, right? The way they dress, the way they you know, the way they engage, the way that they present themselves. It's like that's what's obvious, right? And like as a light worker, you look at these people and you're like, oh boy, they're like, please don't hurt me, you know? You're just like, oh man, like, particularly if you're male, I suppose. Like maybe with females it's like different, but like maybe it's similar, but like it's just like you see these people and you're just like, oh man, like, leave me, like, please don't hurt me. Like, I don't mean any harm. I just want to be happy and funny, you know. I don't want to, I'm not trying to compete with you, you know. I'm not trying to take your power away. I just want to be friends, you know. But like, this person is like, you know, like, he's just like, what would you say? Like, hey, let's do this. And like, you know, they're like, you know, they're rowdy and they're loud and they're like showy. Like, and they care so much about appearances, and they're gangster. They want to be gangster, right? And it's like, what do you do? And it's like, well, this is another personality, like the other category of personality. You know, again, this is broadly generalizing, I know, but like, it's just like something I wanted to talk about. But like, so I guess, you know, this is kind of bridging into psychology a bit, but like, you know, don't quote me on this necessarily, you know, this is just a very kind of shallow understanding I have of this, I'm sure. But like, in psychology, there's things known as golden child and the scapegoat, right? And this is the more or less like the foundation of like how these two personality types kind of come about, right? In the past, I've talked about aggressive versus passive people, and now I'm giving like a more specific example of like people who are more sensitive, you know, people who are more kind of loving, you know, people who are more sensual, versus the person who's more like gangster, more like kind of like badass, you know, more like kind of like, you know, like cool, you know, that kind of thing. The reason why you as a light worker, and like I'm the same, like I guess, you know, I class myself as a golden child, you know, in my upbringing, but like, you know, like we as golden children, we were representative of the love in our family or community, right? So like, we were encouraged to shine, to take our radiance and to bring it out to the world. Like, typically, like, golden children are more like there's something about them that's more attractive, either whether that be physically or like kind of like just the way that they are, you know. There's something about them that like everyone loves about them, and like they're the ones who get to shine in like the family or in the community, right? And so like for you, like, it's okay for you to love. If anything, love is natural to you, because it's like all you had to do was be yourself, and like kind of like lead with that and lead with love, and people like, you know, were so happy around you. They're like, oh, this kid's so cute, and like, oh, this person's so like cute and like and fun to be around, and like people just love you, you know. They love being around you and stuff like that. And they celebrated like your radiance. They celebrated like when you did things, like, you know, maybe you then become artistic, and people are like, oh my god, like, oh, did you draw that? That's so awesome. And like you play music and like, oh, he's so talented. And it's like people like praise you, you know. People like invite you, you know, because like they just and like that is how you come to be, is like you become someone who is resonating with the energy of love. And that's the basis for many of us sensitive people. And of course, that's a very broad generation. There's many different, you know, obviously, like, there's many different types of people. Like, you know, we're all individuals, right? So like, don't take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt. This is just like kind of like a broad generalization I'm making. But like, so that's us as light workers, as sensitive people, you know. But there's another type of personality that is in psychology called a scapegoat, and like, that's not literal in its meaning, but like it's like in like a community or in a family, like, you know, there tends to be one child that exhibits more of what that family views as valuable. So there's one child that's more attractive, like more kind of like people love them, you know, people are like kind of more inviting of them. But then there's another child that basically lives in the shadow of that child, and that is the scapegoat, right? And the scapegoat has a very different experience growing up, because whereas we, you know, if we're just like, you know, like if we're typical light workers who are sensitive and that kind of thing, like we kind of basked in the light and the love of other people, right? But like for the scapegoat, they didn't have that, because the scapegoat always lived in the shadow of the golden child. Like whatever they did, it was no match for the radiance of the golden child, right? So they grow up and they're like, I like subconsciously it's like, whatever I do, I don't deserve love, at least as much as my sibling or whatever it might be, right? So they develop an ego that's more based on, okay, that means I gotta be a gangster, because love is not for me, right? I can't have love. Fuck love. Love is weakness. You know, who needs that shit? You know, I guess I don't have it. So what? I'll fucking prove to the world that I'm a badass. I don't need that shit, you know. I'm gonna be attractive by myself. I'm gonna make my own money. I'm gonna be the fucking best, right? And like, you know, and it's like, and these people like begin to gravitate towards strength, right? That's why they love strength. That's why, you know, it's like I struggle with this. It's just like I'm like, some people just don't. They don't care that you're loved, that you're like positive and stuff like that. They don't give a shit. Like they only care about like if you're strong, basically. It's like some people won't give you the time of the day. Maybe this is a bit of a caricature, because like, you know, you see like lots of like shows and things where like there are people who are like, you know, tough guys and things like that. And like they don't, and it's just like it's all about strength, you know. This is particularly like, you know, with masculine like kind of characters and things like that. It's like it's all about strength. And are you strong enough? Can you beat me? You know, like, can you do this? If you're not, like you're a pussy, you know, you're nothing, you know. But like that's the kind of consciousness that, you know, that these other people have, right? It's like that's just how they kind of grew up like valuing. It's like strength, you know, coolness, you know, can you do things, you know, that kind of thing. More kind of like you know, kind of like grounded. In terms of like, I don't mean grounded in terms of like, you know, stable, but I mean like kind of like more in terms of like physical, materialistic, you know. These people like, you know, can you do it? Are you strong enough? Show me, you know, that kind of thing, right? It's very like kind of challenging, and like it's based on strength, you know. That's the value, you know, that's the core value, right? So, and so these people are a different type of way, you know. Like they're like, if anything, like. They like, you know, Lightworkers piss them off. If anything, Lightworkers piss them off because it's like, oh, another fucking guy, like another fucking person who like, you know, who's all lovey-dovey and shit. Like they're fucking faking it, you know. Like they act that way, right? But as soon as like something pisses them off or something, like they'll show their true colors, you know. You know, it's just like, fuck that guy, you know. It's like, it just pisses them off. It's like, you know, these light workers who are all like, you know, we're all like kind of, oh yeah, you know, like, and like all like, we're just trying to be positive. And it's like, these people like, they just poke at you. And they're just like, and like you squirm, and they're like, fucking light workers, you know? That's how it is, right? And it's because like, they're like, why should this person deserve love over me? That's not what they're consciously thinking. Like to them, it's like, this guy's a pussy, because they've equated love with weakness. That's the conscious rationalization. You know, it's like, they want love, obviously, but it's subconscious. It's a subconscious need. Like, consciously, they're thinking, fuck, like, you know, like, this guy's a pussy. You know, like, look at the way he fucking, like, presents, like, he's a brony, and he loves My Little Pony, and, like, he fucking, like, he cosplays and puts makeup on and shit, and he's, like, singing and doing music. Like, fuck this guy. What a fucking, like, fruitcake, you know? This is what they're thinking. Right? But it's because of that subconscious kind of like I'm not deserving of love. Like, I can't fucking, like, you know, like, that's what it is. It's like that, like, that's the weakness that these people hold, you know. It sounds kind of a bit fucked up the way I'm describing it. Like, I'm just describing it objectively, right? All of what I'm saying is objective, right? So, like, these people typically live much more aggressive lives, as I said, you know, like, whereas like we're like kind of like in the clouds and dreaming, but at the same time we're just depressed and like self-loathing and like just like sad and depressed. These other people, their experience is more aggressive, right? So for them it's like fuck, like, you know, I need to do this. Shit, I didn't do it. Fuck! You know, like, hey man, like, you know, like, hey, what'd you say about me? Fuck you! And it's just like, you know, it's like, yeah, man. It's like, and then like, it's more like kind of like, their experience is more like, let's do this shit. Can you do this shit? I can't do this shit. Fuck, I'm pissed off, you know. I'm pissed off, like, I need to, like, you know, and it's like, and then you see some fucking light worker who's like, la 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 la, and they're like, this fucking cunt, you know. It's like, that's what they're feeling, you know. It's like, they're like, I'm busting my ass trying to be a badass here, you know, trying to be a gangster, and this fucking guy is like singing and painting and dancing and being all like, and like, you're like, oh fuck, like, I'm gonna fuck, like, not like I'm gonna punch this guy, you know, obviously, like, no decent person is gonna do that, right? But like, it's just like, it's just a fucking like rage that you have towards that, right? So like, as this second type of personality, like, you feel generally more like aggressive emotions. So like, whereas like I said, like the light worker, like their problem is like fear, is powerlessness, is like depression, like all of these kind of like more like dull, softer types of negative emotions. For the aggressive person, it's more like hate and like anger and rage. You know, for them it's rage. It's like, or jealousy, or like vengeance, you know, like these more aggressive types of feelings. And the reason they feel this is because, you know, like they never grew up with our kind of like identification with love. They never deserved it, right? Because like the other sibling was the one who had that, whereas you, like, you know, it didn't matter like what the fuck you did, right? You know, you could never be as good as this other person, right? So like it's like you can't have that. You've equated love with like weakness. And that's why these people like are so violent to us. We see these people as violent, but it's because like they don't know how to love. To us, love is natural. It is some, like, you know, it's just something like, we know that we just have to tap into it. Like, I know this. I've always known it. It's like, all I have to do is sing and like, and tap into that feeling. I know what it is. That feeling's always been there for me. But like, for someone who didn't have that growing up, they weren't the kid in the spotlight. They weren't the kid that everyone loved and threw themselves at. You know, they weren't the, you know, the kind of golden child. They can't feel love. You know, in the same way that you as a light worker can't resonate with strength, these people can't resonate with love. And that's why, like, what they tend to do is destructive and full of pain and like kind of like empty like competition and anger. It's because like they're motivated by these emotions because they can't tap into their love. And that's not their fault at all. And like, you know, it's like, it's their inability, like, it's as when they were kids, they were given the message like, you are not deserving of love. You know, you can't like, you do not deserve the same treatment that this other sibling has. You don't, no matter what you do. And so like, this other kid is like, it's like, imagine what it's like to not be able to feel love, to be so anxious that you're like, what do I do? You're like, what do I do? Like, you know, like I do this, and then like, but people are like people are giving love to this person. You're just like can you feel the rage that creates in you? Like that kind of like desperation. It's like fuck, you know, like fuck. Like, it's just like, I can't have love. But you're obviously not thinking that. You're like, fuck. You're like, fuck this shit. You know, fuck this guy. And like, you just like, you harden. You harden. You know, you become a gangster. Right. And that's why. That's why there's so much violence in the world. It's because there's like these types of people. They don't know how to love. They don't realize how easy it is. Right. And so, after a very long kind of introduction of this concept, like, the crux of this entry is basically to find balance, going back to that idea, to find balance between those two things, strength and love. Right? As a light worker, we must recognize that strength and power is not necessarily a destructive thing. Right? Because when you witness that destructive energy, it's because it hasn't been tempered with love, right? You have love. But without strength, it is sheltered from, it is kept from the world, right? So you've got to learn to empower yourself. Can you help people when you're powerless? You may have all the intention in the world, but like, if you can't like empower yourself and to learn skills and to learn to deal with conflict and to learn to do all these things, can you help others? You know? No. You know? Or rather, you can try, but like, if you rather, you know, that was a very kind of like negative way of saying it, but like, rather, like, if you embrace strength, aka if you learn in some way to align yourself with strength and to slowly learn, it's to slowly kind of like gain the benefits of strength. Because what are the benefits of strength? The benefits of strength are like skillfulness. You know, it is abundance, right? It is self-belief. So when we feel self-doubt, it's because we don't have, like, because we don't have self-belief. Because self-belief comes from challenging yourself, or being challenged and then like finding a way forwards, right? Yeah, it's scary. It's like competition, like, you know, it's fucking scary, but like, and like conflict and stuff like that. But like, it's like, you learn to like at first detach yourself from it, and you learn to view it differently. You know, you're not necessarily attacking the other person, but rather you're learning to overcome. You're learning to do something in the same way that you learn a word, right? Or you learn a new spiritual concept, right? It's like you learn something and it adds a new level of understanding to your life. The same is true of like competition and like challenge and things like that. You know, it's like it's finding a way to like learn about something, right? And there are many ways to motivate yourself to do that. Like, you pick something that you enjoy. Like, for example, I've been playing a lot of Tekken 7 recently, right? And for those of you who don't know, Tekken 7 is a fighting game, which means it's a competitive game, and you play real people online, right? And it's a win and lose situation, right? And it's like, it's not the same as a real fight. In a real fight, people get beaten up and you get injured, right? But in this, it's just game characters fighting each other, right? And like, I love video games, so it's, for me, it's an avenue to develop like my kind of own personal power, because I can play matches and I can be like, okay, why am I not enjoying this? How can I find ways to enjoy this? And then when I'm starting to enjoy it, I play a bit better. And then when I'm playing better, I want to learn more about the game. And to learn more about the game, I have to compete with someone, which is stressful. But at the same time, I'm like, but I learned this though, you know? And then I can learn this, and then I can learn this. And like, trust me, it's fucking hard. You know, like, in the sense, like, I don't want to diminish how hard it is, like, but like, rather like, the way that you overcome it is that you use positivity as a light worker. You use positivity to slowly pull yourself in the direction of self-empowerment, you know. And of course, like, you know, the hard parts of life, because, like, you know, I'm trying to maybe sugarcoat this entry as much as possible, but like, there's going to be shitty days. There's going to be shitty days, you know, and like the only thing, and like, you know, there's no other way of hashing that, but like, with those shitty days, like, you will learn to be a beast as well. Like, you know, it's not pleasant, but like, in the meantime, you know, in the meantime, you can kind of like, use this, like, use your own part, like, find something you enjoy, and then like, begin to like, do it, and then the more that you do it, the more confidence you build, the more, like, because it doesn't have to be competition to start off with, right? It can just be like, learning something, or like, you know, practicing something or creating something, right? When you create something, and you're not like an expert on it, like, it might not be that great, right? But you create it and you're like, you finish it and you're like, yeah, I finished it, go me, you know? And then like, you're like, okay, well, let's do it again, and then you improve again, and like, it's self-improvement, you know? And it's like, yeah, I'm not saying it's easy, like, I'm just giving a few examples, but like, it's not a straightforward thing. It's not like, hey, like, we're all love, we're all oneness, you know? It's like, it's not as simple as just conceptualizing of something like that. It's more like, you got to become more dense, right? So like, you know, we light workers tend to be more kind of like diffuse and more like, not necessarily a bad thing, but like more like kind of like etheric, you know, like ethereal. Not like literally ethereal, but like etheric, you know, like we're more kind of like higher up, like in like the higher kind of levels of reality. Like, you know, we're thinking thoughts, we're like thinking about pre-manifested things, you know, like we're more based, and we're more energetically sensitive, and like we understand, like, you know, like bigger, you know, the bigger kind of picture of reality and existence, you know, like this kind of thing. And the process of becoming more empowered is a densification, you know. And as you become more dense, as I covered in the previous entry, right, the more you do it, because initially you're just going to be like, I don't want to be more dense. It's like, why? And it's like, but like, the more that you do it, the more they realize that you can do this whenever you want. Because you as a light worker, this is easy for you. You know, this is easy for you. You know, being present, being with your feelings, downloading, you know, intuiting, being empathic, you know, that comes naturally to you. You may have discovered it in the latter part of your life, like myself. Like, I only discovered this in my 20s. Like, I was completely, had no clue about any of this in like my teens and my early 20s. Like, it was only like kind of like from my mid 20s onwards that I really started to tap into this. But now I realize that this stuff is like, the reason I make these so many entries is like, or like I'm able to be fairly consistent with it, is because this, like, talking about this kind of stuff is so easy to me, you know, and so own that, right? But because you then realize that, like, dude, this is so easy, it means like you can always go back to here whenever you want, and you keep going, and you keep becoming denser and denser and denser, and learning how to like kick ass. But you know that whenever you want, you can always retreat back to the nurturing kind of essence of source energy, right? So that's light workers, learning how to fight, right? For the gangster, right, they gotta learn how to love, because to them, love is like being a pussy, basically, right? It's like, why the fuck? It's like, I'm not a pussy. What, like, you know, like I'm about like being sick and making money and getting like fucking girls, you know, or being an alpha, like an alpha male, an alpha female, you know. That's what I'm about. I'm about hustle. I'm about money. I'm about fucking being sick, bruv. You know what I mean? You know? But like, the thing is that like, but how do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel when some dickhead comes up to you and is like, yeah, bruv, I'll knock you out, innit? Like, how do you feel? Maybe you like it, right? But like, imagine your whole life being like this. And then you see some fucking light worker who's like, all is well. love is all that there is. You know, it feels great to be a human. You know, and you're like, how does it make you feel? It makes you feel angry, right? Do you want to be angry for the rest of your life? Because like, I can tell you a way not to be angry. You know, do the hustle thing. You know, that's you, right? It's like, as a light worker, I'm gonna like continue to be like sensitive and to like, you know, all of that stuff. But like, you know, do like make money and stuff like that. But like, what I'm saying is like, recognize. It's like, yeah, like, you know, people, it's like love is fucking like, because for these people, love is deceptive. Basically, love isn't real. Love is only like people manipulating people. You know. That's the thing. It's like, you know, for us light workers, it's like love is a feeling and we feel it. And like, yes, like part of that densification process is realizing that the world is also kind of Machiavellian and like there's all sordid and like there's all of this like kind of corruption and like foul play and stuff like that. You know, like not everyone plays fair. Not everyone is like love and compassion. You know, but like the thing is that like, being overly like that is also a thing. Because think about it, right? If you're a gangster, if you're like a badass, right? Like, when is it your turn to like, to be appreciated? When is someone gonna tell you, hey man, you're sick, keep doing what you're doing, I love you, man. I'm not no homo, I'm just saying like you're a sick guy. Like, when is someone gonna say that? And for you to accept it without being like, oh shit, what does this guy want? You're just secretly thinking, oh, this guy's saying this shit. He's probably trying to get with me. He's probably trying to like, you know, like kind of leech off of me. He's probably trying to like find my weakness so that he can like beat me and take what I have. You know, how long can you sustain that shit? To be like fucking like, oh shit, everyone's fucking trying to fuck me over. I gotta keep being strong. You know, do you realize it's hurting people? You know, just because you're a gangster doesn't mean that you're like an unfeeling person, right? Can you keep hurting people by like doing things that like by being like so like fucking like fuck everyone, you know? But like overall, like it's like you think maybe you have a dream, maybe you have a dream like you want to find a husband or a wife that like is gonna love you and you start a family, you know, or you find some mates, you know, some friends like who will ride, you know, who will ride with you till you die, motherfucker, type of thing. Maybe that's your dream, right? But like, what happens when like if you can't find those people, or like if you know you know, like, or like, what happens if you find those people, and like, and you're just like, you can't fucking, you know, like, it's like, you can't trust them. What happens then? You know, maybe like you want to trust them, but you can't, right? So like, that's the thing, it's like, that's your next step, is like to be able to realize that love makes you a pussy, but it doesn't. You fucking deserve it. You know? Fuck anyone who says otherwise to you. You know? This is how you do it, right? So for like light workers, we have to like kind of like lead with positivity. We have to be like, okay, like I need to focus on the fact that like empowerment means that I can help more people, that I can fulfill myself more, and I can learn skills, and I can do more things that I enjoy. You know, that's for light workers. For the gangster, it's like, you know, maybe the fact that you think that love makes you a pussy is the reason you're a pussy. Maybe it's because you're not man enough, or tough enough, or sick enough to just be loving. Why can't you do that shit? Why not, bro? You know? Why can't you do that shit? I can do it. Why can't you do it? You know? Simple. just watch My Little Pony if you want to. Watch that chick flick if you want to. Wear those nice clothes that you want to. Those leather pants. You know? Fucking do ballet dancing if you want to. Why not? What are you scared of? You know? Why are you so fucking scared, bro? You know? Just do it. Who gives a shit? You know? Who gives a shit? You know? It's your life, right? You're the badass, right? So why can't you do it? Do it. You know? You deserve it. Prove all these fuckers, like, you know, say fuck you to everyone. You know? You deserve love. Love is yours. All it takes is that. All you do is like, hey man, yeah, I'm feeling that love, bro. Yeah, who cares? I'm wearing a pink shirt. Fuck you. You know? Yeah, I watch My Little Pony. I think that shit's cute. You know? Fuck you. Yeah, it's gay shit, but maybe you're the fucking fag because you can't watch that shit. You know? Own it. You know? And you know, it's hard, I know. Because, like, you don't want to be a pussy. I get it. You don't want to be a pussy. You know, you don't want people to talk about you like you're a little bitch. You know, oh, he watched My Little Pony, what a fucking homo. You know, that guy's a fucking, like, he's fucking pussy. What's, like, you know, you want to suck dick next? You want to suck a dick? You know, it's like, that's what you're afraid of, right? But you got to recognize that, like, why should you give a shit? You know, these motherfuckers are like, oh yeah, like, what, look at me, like, with my fucking car and shit, like, and, like, I can kick this guy, and it's like, you know, like, be honest with yourself, like, does it make you happy? Don't you want to be happy? If you want to be happy, you gotta recognize that maybe your boys, like, maybe, like, they're trying to act a certain way to be tough, right? Because they're scared. It's fear, man. They're scared they're also scared of being seen as a pussy. That's why they have to make fun of you. That's why they feel that fear. It's because it's that thing within you that's like, love is weak. Fuck love. Anyone who is loving is like weak. And I ain't about that life. I want to be a gangster badass, right? So you gotta be honest with yourself. Do you want to be happy? You know? At some point, like, you know, maybe you're some young kid or some shit, right? And you're like, you know, who's this fucking chink? Like, fuck this guy. Like, shut the fuck up. I'll fucking flag your video like I did the last one. You know, suck my dick, bro. And it's like, what do I say to that? You know? You're a fucking like young kid, you know? It's like I can't do anything about that. You're not going to listen to what I'm saying. But maybe you're a bit older. Maybe you've seen some shit, maybe you've lived life a bit, and you've done that shit, you earn money, you got the car, you got the bitches, right? You learn, like, you're sick at this thing, you know, whatever it might be, right? And maybe, like, you're like, shit, well, but, like, I can't, like, but, like, I gotta be honest. Like, all this shit I thought, like, you know, I thought being sick would be, like, everything, right? But, like, I'm fucking angry all the time, you know? I can't trust anyone, you know? There's things that I love, but I can't show them to the world because, like, people are going to think I'm a pussy and I don't want that, you know? And, like, you gotta ask yourself, man, like, are you going to, like, live the rest of your life pretending? Because isn't that what it is? No, I'm not saying, like, you know, you shouldn't, like, you know, if you're a gangster, it means you're, like, some idiot. Like, I'm not saying that, you know? I'm not saying, like, you know, there's anything wrong with it. I'm saying, like, if you want balance in your life, you gotta ask yourself this. The whole point of this entry is balance. That's what I wanted to talk about. Reeling it back now, I had to kind of get into my kind of gangster mentality there, you know? As opposed to, like, earlier, my lightworker mentality. But, like, you gotta find balance. You know, love is about knowing to love. It's being able to love and being able to fight. Because being able to love is everything in life. You know, we as light workers understand this. Love is everything there is. Like, why would you do anything else aside from what you love? Love is what nourishes you. Love is what, like, you can take and give to someone else. Then, like, damn, this guy's cool. Like, and what he loves is sick, you know? And it nourishes you. And it's like, it helps you breathe and calm down and love yourself. And you're just like, and it helps you love other people. It helps you love the world. It helps you care. Because it makes you realize that the world, the other people, they're just the same as you. They're all just struggling through life like you, and they're trying to find their happiness, right? And when you can give yourself permission to love, you know, and to own that, then like you become someone, like you become happy, and you become like a facilitator of that, of making the world a better place. Who doesn't want the world to be a better place, right? And like, that's love, but like you also got to fight. AKA, you've got to be able to like have facility in the world, you know. You've got to be able to like to achieve what you want to achieve. And if people try to get in your way, you have to have enough perspective to be able to be like, okay, what I believe in is important to me, and it's not personal. It's never personal. It shouldn't be personal. The reason why people propagate so much violence in the world, so many like turf wars and shit like that, is because people make it personal, because no one has love. You know, all of these like fucking kids like shooting each other and stabbing each other, because like they weren't loved as kids. They don't know how to love, right? So they have to learn to love, to be a pussy. Come on, bro. Like, you know, just who cares? You like what you like, you know, you like fashion, you know, whatever it is, like, you like what you like, right? So like, but you have to fight. You know, this is the low way. You have to fight. You know, like sometimes you just have to get down with something, whether that be to assert yourself in front of other people, or to have the discipline to keep going on your journey. You need both. The important thing is both. You can't have one without the other, because I, as a white worker, have had periods when I'm like, okay, I've got to go into warrior mode. I've got to be fucking like strong, and like I just get so like obsessed, like I become so resistant that I'm like against my own nature, and like I'm like, I need to become strong. It's like I become imbalanced. I lose myself. So whenever I go, I kind of like empower myself. Whether that be through playing competitive video games, or like to like do something like jogging, like every single week, you know, or working on my music and staying disciplined, you know. Whatever it is, I know that love is right there, you know. And like, if you're like the other type, you know, like, you know, when you learn to love, like, yeah, you will fucking, you know, like, you will get pissed off, you know, like, you will get cheated, you know, people will drag you back into, like, you know, it's like, people will call you a pussy, and it'll piss you off, right? And you're like, yeah, you know, like, fuck you, and then you'll get back into that aggressive thing. It's like, well, yeah, you can do whatever you want. If you want, you can kick someone's ass. It's like, if you feel like it, you know, I'm not saying like you can't do that, but like, it's just like, you know, but you need something to live for. You need something to live for. You're missing out, man. As in, like, you know, a gangster, you know. Again, I want to say this, right? All of this video is a fucking generalization. Don't take anything like I'm saying like super seriously. I'm just like, this is like a hypothetical person A and person B. Hypothetical light worker, a hypothetical, or an ideal light worker, and an ideal gangster. You know, we're all different. Like, most of us are a mixture. You know, I'm becoming more of a mixture. The goal is to become a mixture. You find your own sweet spot. You know, you have your own unique mixture of like love and the fight. And like, you have to kind of like learn where your imbalances are and deal with it. You know, so as a light worker, fulfill yourself. And to fulfill yourself, you have to give yourself enough confidence and self-worth to be able to say, no, this is important to me. Love and inspiration is important to me. You stand in my way. At one point in my life, I let you steamroll me because I thought that meant that like you would see it my way. But I learned the hard way that wasn't the case. And now I'm like, well, if you're not going to listen to me, then I'm just gonna have to like stand in your way. I'm going to have to defend myself and assert myself if that's what it takes. But I know that like behind that is the love and inspiration that was always there for me as a light worker, right? If you're a gangster, quote unquote, right? Then like, you know, like, yeah, like, you know, fucking, yeah, like, you know, I love, like, you know, like, my life is about being sick. I'm trying to be like a badass. I'm trying to like make my money. I'm trying to like fucking, I'm trying to fucking like, you know, I'm gonna get the bitches. I'm gonna get the money. I'm gonna get whatever it is I fucking want, you know. You know, I'm gonna kill it in life. You know, I'm gonna kill it. But the thing is, like, I'm gonna kill it, but like, but am I honest with myself? In like, do I have something to live for? You know, like this shit that these other motherfuckers do, like, you know, watch My Little Pony. I know I keep using that example, but like, or like playing an instrument and playing music and like and dancing and like doing these pussy ass things together. Like maybe I need to try that shit. Maybe it will make it so that like I'm not fucking pissed off all the time, and like I can't trust anyone, you know. Instead of fucking like, yeah, like instead of like fucking like just sitting in the streets, I see a lot of these kids nowadays in the streets just fucking like in like East London, just standing around and like fucking like just like saying like just yelling obscenities at each other basically. You fucking cunt, like what you fucking, like just like everywhere, and it's just like, do you not have anything to do in your life? You know, you could do so much. You could like learn to like make beats. You know, like you could rap. You could fucking like, you could learn to make money even. Right? Because like I've been speaking as if like these gangsters like all like, you know, learn to make money. Some of them don't. Some of them just like become fucking like common thugs on the street. Just like, you know, like petty criminals. And it's like, no, like, dude, like if, you know, all you have to do, right, is to just like give yourself some comfort, like, you know, just like do something else, man. You can. You fucking can. I say you can, right? You can make money, right? You can make money. You can get bitches. Like if you haven't got that already, right? You can do whatever you want, right? And eventually at some point you'll realize that like, yeah, again, like you can do both. Both are needed. You gotta fight, but you also gotta love. Because love without fight is destined to like to fade to like nothingness. You know, impasse, nothingness. And fight without love is always going to be pain. That's all it's ever going to be. Pain, misery, rage, anger, you know. So cool. Anyway, long ass entry. Like, I hope I got my point across there. Like, I kind of drag it out a bit, but like, you know, anyway, yeah, so hopefully that was insightful for you guys, you know, like, if you have any comments, leave them in the comment section below. Yeah, like, keep going, man. That's the message I have for you. Whatever you're going through right now, just like, you're going through it, but like, at least think. Like, I don't have to say this to, I'm saying this to like the other type, right? I'm not, like, you, like, you know, the people who are conscious people, like, watching this, like, sensitive people, you already know this. Like, I'm not saying this to you, right? For you, like, do more stuff. You know, like, like, you know, like, do more stuff, you know, like, go out into the world more, and like, I would just say, do more stuff. If you maybe have been thinking of starting a vlog entry, start doing vlog entries. Like, you don't even have to upload them, but like, I would recommend you upload them. Doesn't matter, you know. But if you really don't, but like, at least do something that you enjoy, that you've been holding off, that you really want to do, and just do it and see what happens. No pressure. No pressure. You don't even have to upload it. Just do it and see what happens. You know, that thing that you've been wanting to do, but like you were scared, or like you were depressed, you know, or whatever it might be, you know. No judgment, you know, just do it and see what happens, right? And for the G's out there, you know, like, what was I going to say? I forgot. Yeah, think a bit. Don't just be pissed off, right? Don't just be like, oh, what this fucking Chinese like cunt saying, or being pissed off about like what your boys did, what this other cunt did. You know, like, just be like, okay, stop for a minute, stop. Like, are you happy? You know, if you're not, then you got to do something about it. You know, maybe you got to make more money. And like, there's other people on the internet that are going to show you how to do it. I recommend maybe someone like Tai Lopez or something like that, you know. Like, you know, if you want bitches, get bitches. You know, because the most important thing is that you learn to like kind of like believe in, like, to like go for things you really want, right? Trust me, it's a waste of your life to just like fucking stand around on streets and shit, just smoking and like inhaling those fucking little like metal like nitrous oxide like capsules. Like, that shit will fuck you up. You like, you know, like, what, like, you do that for fucking 10 years, you're still on the fucking street, right? You can do it. Like, you can make money. You can get bitches. You can get that fucking Lambo if you want. Like, you just gotta like fucking like believe in yourself enough to like be like, okay, maybe I can like watch some videos or some shit. This Tai Lopez guy or whatever, you know, like just like telling me how to like maybe make money. You know, maybe I can go to one of these things and just talk to people and ask them questions, you know. Like, that's what I hope for you, is like to like start to at least do things that you really want to do. You know, like, cause like, you know, sometimes your mates are gonna be like, they're just gonna like keep like making you pissed off and making you think about shit, like what this guy did, what that guy did, you know, oh shit, like, you know, just like, can you see, like, you know, and like, maybe you want something better, maybe you want money, or like you want like something else, like, you know, like, and if your boys aren't gonna talk to you about that shit, maybe they're like, what the fuck you talking about? Make money, yeah, I'll sell my fucking like, come on, like, I don't know, like, you know, talk to someone else or watch videos, man. Like, you know, when you're at home, just watch a video, you know, trust me. You'll start to be able to be like, maybe I can do something. Maybe I can do something, you know. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this here. Long ass entry, so cool. I hope this entry was helpful and insightful as usual. I keep looking at myself in the camera. Yeah, so cool. And yeah, if you have any comments, leave them. Thank you very much for watching this. And as always, I hope you're having a great day, and I will catch you in the next entry. Keep going, guys. Keep going. Peace out.